family and friends, welcome this afternoon as we've come together to remember and celebrate the life of Dennis Smith, known to everyone as Mary, who died on December the 20th. Thank you for being here today to support the family and each other as you share stories and say your goodbyes. Mary, as you know, wasn't a man who wanted for a lot of fuss and fanfare, although he did also like his share of the limelight. He leaves behind his children, Mandy and Ryan, their partners, Mick and Catherine, his partner, Rosalie. He was a brother, an uncle, and a mate to many. Mary enjoyed the simple things in life: fishing, shooting, footy, a beer, time in the shed. He wasn't one that would shy away from controversy, and he always spoke his mind. His family, though, were his greatest joy. Right behind his little dog Molly, the little fluff ball that's on the cover of his booklet. We'll hear from a few people today about different areas of Mary's life, but we'll first start with a snapshot shared to me by his family. Dennis Desmond Smith was born to Claude and Jean in Launceston on January the 15th, 1946, and was the middle of 3 children. He joined older sister Lorraine and younger brother Tracy. The family grew up in Blackwood Creek on a farm, and all of their spare time was spent helping their dad and shooting roos and rabbits. School didn't hold a lot of interest for Mary. He much preferred to be outdoors, and as was standard during those days, he finished his schooling around the age of 14. He stayed on the farm working beside his dad until he started working as a billy boy with the hydro at Politina. He lied about his age to get the hydro job, and after about 18 months moved to Gowrie Park, where he also played football. This was the mid-60s and was also the beginning of his association with the Latrobe Football Club. The Latrobe Football Club was responsible for a few things in Mary's early life. He met Aileen, and as her brother also played for Latrobe, and they married in 1968 and set up home. It wasn't long before their first child, Mandy, arrived, followed 6 years later by Ryan. Mary also started working at APPM in the early 70s and stayed there until the early 2000s when he took a redundancy to concentrate on his health. Family life revolved around the sports that Mary was involved in, and he was very disciplined in his approach to everything that he did. He ran the Christmas carnivals each year in the off-season for football. The kids told me it would be opening their Christmas presents, off to Nan's for brunch, and then the carnivals for the duration of the Christmas period. It was at a stall gift that he didn't disclose his previous wins that led to an alteration that saw the officials' glasses come off and be stomped on. Mary was banned for 10 years, so he made the call to give up running, as once the 10 years was up, he would have been too old to be competitive. Who said he had a short fuse? The next sport of choice was wood chopping, and as you'd expect, he took it to it with the same dedication and discipline, and of course was back on the carnival scene over the summer. Football remained his first sport of choice, and the family life was spent at football functions, dances, and around the club. They would spend lots of time with Dayleen's family congregating to eat and talking footy. Around work life and his sport, Mary had a passion and love for the outdoors. He loved to hunt, fish, and sold skins all throughout his life. He was particular about how he cared for the equipment that he used, and everything had a spot in the shed. He was always shooting before anything else, though, for Mary. He had high hopes for both the kids with their sport, Ryan with his football and Mandy with her basketball. He was super proud of his kids and constantly bragging about how well they were doing in their respective sports. But Mandy said he never understood basketball. On the other hand, Ryan was subject to some off and on-field coaching from his dad at times. He remembers one grand final playing with Latrobe. He and the opposition player collided on field heading for the ball. Next thing, his dad's there at his side saying, "Now that's how I taught you how to hip and shoulder, boy." Ryan's response, "Fuck off, Dad, get off the ground." That was his third visit that game to Ryan, and the police let Mary know that if he did it again, he'd be removed from the ground. In the mid-90s, Mary and Aileen parted ways, and he met Rosalie when her dad played matchmaker, but she was also a regular at the football club. Mary moved to Railton with Rosalie, and they spent their time fishing and camping with her sister Carleen and Tommy. It was also where he fell in love with Molly, what used to be Rosalie's dog. Mary had only had hunting dogs, and they were working dogs and treated as such. Not Molly, though. That first night she was sleeping on the bed with Mary, and he spoon-fed her. And Rosalie said, everyone he loved second to Molly. These last 6 months particularly have been a challenge for Mary. His health started to decline, but in his true style, he was active and always doing the things he loved. He was strong, stoic and tough, and has left so many stories and memories behind for those that were in his life. His presence will certainly be missed, and there are some parts of his life, particularly shooting and football, that others will now share memories about, and I'd like to ask Mick to come forward first.
Good afternoon. My name's Mick Rowe, I'm from Shearwater. I've known Dennis Smith for about 45 years and played football with him at Meander. He went there in '78, I think it was, and we won the final. I think he got up to pranks that day. He came to the game with his arm in a sling, and Chudley seen him and thought, oh, well, they was home and nose. But they got a shot when he ran out on the ground afterwards, and he was the best man on the ground. And we won again in '79. I had a little bit to do with Mary after that, but for the last 20, 25 years, I've always been duck shooting, rabbit shooting with him. He was a crack shot with a rifle, he wouldn't miss, but with a shotgun, he was woeful. If he shot a duck, it was tenderised, and I mean it was tenderised. I've seen that day that he could only get the back leg off a duck. He had a lot of shooting mates over that period of time. Just to name a few of them: Max Grundy, Gerald Sheehan, Graham Johnson, Baden Sharman, Kevin Norris, John Donaldson from Westbury, and the late Johnny Spotswood. Now, probably over a beer and a cup of tea, there'll be a lot of stories told, and some of them have got a lot of swearing in them. But to me, he was a great mate. He was always sharp, you know. You'd get there to go shooting and he wanted to get on with it. He didn't want to stand around talking. A couple of times, we went all the way to Westbury once to a dam. He got the gun out of the car and he realised he didn't have the key for the trigger guard. So he was stuffed, but we did prize it off. Another time he went to Sheffield and he didn't take his cartridges. And there was a time we snuck up to a hole, we could hear the ducks quacking. We got up, I dropped 3 or 4, Mary never even fired the gun. He forgot to load it. That's when he did say a few words. But no, it was, you know, he was a great mate. Tell a few stories later on, but all I can say now is rest easy, old mate, and thanks for the memories.
I'd like to ask Harvey to come on. Harvey or Billy? Billy? One of you.
Dennis Smith, better known to us as Mary, the champion of the 1969-72 Premiership era here at Latrobe. While remaining positive against the odds in recent months, Dennis finally succumbed a couple of weeks ago on Wednesday the 20th of December. He lit the town up in 1967 when he moved down here from Gowrie Park. His flowing locks, his outright pace and mercurial leap were there right from the start. His early years were spent at full forward under playing coach Wally Clark. He moved to a wing in coach Durham Baldock's highly successful reign, making that position his own. He delighted in taking possession of the ball, defying opponents to catch him as he dashed forward and delivered the ball lace out to his forwards. A true legend of the club, Dennis was one of 7 to play in all 4 of the premierships, and one of 4 to play in all 6 consecutive grand finals. He won the Dayards Best and Fairest Award in 1970, inarguably the club's best ever team. A team that included dual Warner medalists Durham Baldock, John Gillard and Bob Hickman. A team that went on to win the club's only state premiership. To back up that seriously good form, in 1971, He represented the NWFU in interstate matches against the NTFL and TFL, playing well enough to win the Ulster Trophy for best on ground in those matches and earning a place in the state team. Not a bad effort for a young bloke from Blackwood Creek, in the shadow of the Western Tiers, where most aspects of life were fairly basic, even tough, including the weather, according to Mary. His mate Ronnie Tubb decided he was going to build a trapper's hut back under the mountains. Mary said, "Ronnie, it'll never last. We'll never get to use it." Anyway, Ronnie decided to build it, and shortly after completing it, headed out there for a couple of weeks trapping. Foggy when he left home, even foggier when he neared the hut. So much so he couldn't find it. So he waited, and he waited, and he waited. And according to Mary, that dirty stinking fog didn't lift for hours. And when it finally did, it was that heavy it took the hut with it. He was prominent this time of year on the running track too, donning the spikes and showing a clean pair of heels to many well-credentialed pro runners. So what hope did the bailiffs have? Very little, it seems. An unverified but entirely plausible account of one run-in with the AFC officialdom suggests just how little. The record reads, a man estimated to be in his late 20s to early 30s was reported running along the banks of the Mersey River out of season. That's the whiteback season, not the footy season. Clocking an estimated 2 yards inside even time, in waders, with a whitebait net under each arm. He loved a bit of celebrity too. Teammate George Wyatt remembers the grand final at Devonport, where Doc decided to leave him on the grandstand wing all match. Mary's take was, see, take the side of the ground. Doc wants his best winger out there. Doc's reported to put it a little bit differently to the selectors, saying, he loves the crowd, keep him in front of the grandstand, and he'll be a match winner. He loved his footy and the club, and although battling in recent months, made the considerable effort to attend Old Die Hard's functions to the end. He'd love to be here today with so many of his mates. We acknowledge his passing with the utmost respect and offer our sincere condolences to Dennis's family. The young fellow from Blackwood Creek made a huge impression on and off the footy field. He was a one-off, and he will be sadly missed by us all. Rest in peace.
I'd like to ask Kayla to come forward.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm Rosalie's granddaughter and Mary's step-granddaughter. Mary, as you've always been known to us in our family since you entered into our lives 23 years ago, you have fitted into our lives like you've always been a part of it. From racing us up and down Giblin Street as children to show us how fast you could run, to taking on 2 great-grandchildren like they were your own. Teaching Mason to garden, taking the kids to the river, lighting fires with them and dropping them home after sleepovers. Nothing was ever an issue. You looked after our nun, kept her company and made yourselves a great life with wonderful memories. We will be forever grateful for you and the constant you have been in our lives. We'll miss your large meal portions, feeding Molly from a spoon, your endless gallivanting around the countryside. I'll even miss fixing your phone when you accidentally just turn it on flight mode or on silent. Thank you for being a great stepfather, step-pop and a great-grandfather. You fought a huge fight, never let us see any pain you're in. May you rest in peace with your beloved little Molly. We love you so much until we all meet again.
I've just got some words from Mandy that I'd like to read. Growing up, Ryan and I had many memories from taking the dogs down to Bell's Parade or Shell Road for a swim and teaching them to retrieve. Watching Dad teach Ryan how to skin a rabbit, wallaby or gutter fish, even though it would make my stomach squirm. Camping up the Great Lakes, tents on the rocks probably wasn't my favourite. Going out to Hawley, Shearwater and Port Sorrel with family and friends. Dad wasn't a fan of sand, but he would put up with it for us. I loved going to get blackberries or mushrooms with Dad, but I remember one day we were up at Mersey Lee when Dad spotted a rabbit in the paddock. Yes, he always took a rifle just in case. There wasn't a lot of room to pull off the side of the road, so he got me to wind down the window, told me to lean back in the seat and block my ears. Next thing I knew, he was out of the ute, hurdling the fence and retrieving the rabbit. Back in the ute and off we go, most of the time coming home with more rabbits than berries. Dad had lots of good hunting workmates and fishing mates. Fresh, Gerald, Mick Clark, Mick Rowe, Dork, Max, Graham and Sandy, just to name a few. Your Sunday school mates, George, Ginger and Amy, every one of his mates have many wonderful memories and stories that I'm sure we will hear whilst having a drink in Dad's honour a bit later today. Our families would like to thank everyone who assisted Dad throughout his cancer battle, driving him to appointments, being a translator, as Dad was hard of hearing and throwing the doctor's accent and a mask, getting his medication and just being there for him. To the die-hard members and Latrobe Football Club for honouring Dad's last wishes, we thank you. You were known to many as Smith or Mary, but to us you'll always be our wonderful Dad. Thanks for the good times and great memories. And as we now watch Mary's life in the following images, I hope that you're able to be reminded of the man that you knew and that these memories make you smile.
By a warm electric heater in a softly padded chair, in a lounge room brightly lighted by a glowing chandelier. Since my early days of roving, the years have taken toll, but I somehow miss my swagger by a fire of pitchy coal. When I wake from sleep each morning and I ring the bedside bell, the maid brings in my breakfast and she fills my pipe as well. There are cakes and sweetened coffee on a tray of sparkling gold, but I miss black tea and amber by a fire of pitchy coal. I am driven out each evening by a chauffeur spruce and neat, through the flowered parks and gardens and the crowded city streets. But I drift back through the ages while the big car softly rolls to a stop route and a wagonette and a fire of pitchy coal. I attend all social parties in the rich parts of the town, drinking wine from fancy glasses as the waiters roll me round. But I'd rather share a bottle with those droving maids of old, in a pair of dusty moleskins by a fire of pitchy coal. In a pair of dusty moleskins by a fire of pitchy coal.
As we're nearing the end of our time here together, we prepare to say our final goodbyes to Mary. I'd like to remind you all of the invitation to remain here with the family, to share a drink and share your own memories and times that you've spent together over the years, to raise a beer and to toast his life. Mary will be doing a lap of honour around the ground, maybe a little bit slower than he would like. So once we say goodbye, please make your way outside. You can exit either end of the building and form a guard of honour for Mary. I'll share with you the following poem that the family have chosen, called Until We Meet Again. Those special memories of you will always bring a smile. If only we could have you back for just a little while. Then we could sit and talk again just like we used to do. You always meant so very much and always will do too. The fact that you're no longer here will always cause us pain, but you're forever in our hearts until we meet again. As we now say our final goodbyes to Mary and we send him on his next journey, remember that even though he may be physically gone, he'll always be with you in your heart and in the memories and the stories that you share. Family and friends, if you're able, will you please stand? These are the last rites in the natural life of Mr. Dennis Desmond Smith, born on January the 15th, 1946, and who died on December 20, 2023. Tenderly and reverently, we commit his body with the remembrance of a life richly lived. Go in the strength of all that is of goodness, hope and love, finding richness and joy in your memories of Mary, strength and support in your love and care for each other, and peace in your hearts. Rest in peace, Mary. You'll always be loved, missed, and remembered.